In the last year, I've put just over 30,000 miles on my Road Glide. And because I'm a data nerd, I've tracked every ride, every service, and every dollar I've spent upgrading and buying accessories for it. In this video, I'm breaking it all down. What it costs to own and maintain the bike, the parts and upgrades that I've added, what I carry with me on the road, and what, most importantly, I've learned along the way. Whether you're a new Harley rider or just curious about the real numbers behind long distance riding, well, this is a full picture of 1 year with my Harley-Davidson Road Glide. One of the biggest questions I get from riders is, what does it actually cost to keep my bike on the road? So, like I said, I've tracked every service this year, from oil changes and tire changes. So here's the breakdown. Well, put my glasses on first. If I just walked in and paid cash at the dealer for mileage-based service, it would cost me $4,648 for service at a Harley dealer. I hit my 30K service just after my 1 year mark, and I actually lost about a week of riding because I always go to the Newport Jazz Festival, but I still managed to pile on my miles quickly. I picked up a prepaid maintenance plan when I bought the bike, so my real out-of-pocket cost for service on my bike has been $1,500. Most Harley riders average 3,000 to 5,000 miles a year, and I did that every couple of months. That's roughly a difference that I saved of $3,100, and we're just talking so far. And the plan covered all the big intervals without me needing to budget for every service. By the time my prepaid service is up, I'll definitely be over 60,000 miles, which I estimate will save me $6,300. But don't tell my home dealer. Of course, there's still consumables that fall outside of that plan: tires, brake pads, fluids, and I'll get into those in a minute. But the service plan alone made a huge difference in managing my costs this year. So another question I get is, Monty, how did you get so many miles on your bike? Well, I like food and I will travel for it. So going to New York for lunch at Catch Deli is not uncommon. And if you've never been to Catch Deli, I definitely recommend you go. And go before 11 o'clock a.m. Thank you. Let's talk upgrades. The biggest one, no surprise if you know me, is, my stereo. I wrapped up what I consider my stage 2 setup back in August, right after getting back from Newport, and the total cost of that upgrade was just over $5,000. As an audiophile, it was worth every fucking penny. The sound is clean, powerful, and exactly what I wanted. Where I did go wrong was the steps in between. I spent almost $1,700 on the Harley-Davidson / Rockford Stage 2 kit and a pair of Cicada CXX speakers. Those speaker and amp combinations from Harley are only meant to work together, so the Cicadas weren't going to do much over stock, but it was an improvement. But obviously it didn't get me where I needed to go. So if I could do it all again, I would have skipped and went straight to MVS and saved myself that money. Next, exhaust. I'm not going to jump on the loud pipe saves lives bandwagon, as there's plenty of studies showing that is more myth than fact. For me, it's simple. I enjoy the sound, and well, yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. So I have the Reinhardt DBX 45 XL slip-ons, and it gave me the tone I wanted without being over the top. lastly, as far as upgrades are concerned, suspension. The Olean's front and rear upgrades were easily the second most noticeable change I've made on this bike. All right, let's open these up and see what's inside. And I put the rears on at 10,000 miles and the front fork cartridges in at 20,000 miles. And the difference in comfort and handling was immediate and very noticeable. The bike feels more planted, it's more smooth, and I feel more confidence when I ride. I've been riding for 17 years, but big difference. So between the stereo, the exhaust, and suspension upgrades, I spent $10,500. And I can say wholeheartedly that they were completely worth it. A question I get when people see my bike, particularly women, is who is Jess? Well, Jess and I started riding bikes many moons ago, and I lost him to a accident in California where we learned to ride. So I picked up a Harley in honor of him because he was trying to push me in that direction. I wasn't ready to go, but, well, when I lost him, I decided it was time.
Loved ones remembering a Navy sailor killed in a chain reaction crash on the 5 last week near Camp Pendleton. Their nightmare began last Thursday around 3 in the morning. 38-year-old Jess Davis was among 5 motorcycle riders on the southbound 5 coming back from an event in Los Angeles. Davis, who began riding more than a decade ago, also loved his biker family and being on his bike.
Gave him a freedom, do what he loved.
His family takes some comfort he was with his biker family when he died. His death, admits his mom, is one she finds hard to accept.
So tragedies like that with Jess are a reminder of just how unpredictable being on the road can be. We can't change what's already happened, but we can prepare ourselves for what might come next. And honestly, that's why I believe training and practice matter a lot. Parking lot drills, slow speed maneuvers, and braking practice all translate into muscle memory when something unexpected happens. For me, that's one of the best investments any rider can make. And it's not about being perfect, it's about being ready for what you can't predict. And while we're talking about safety and looking out for one another, I want to highlight the Rider Down Foundation. They do incredible work supporting riders and families after crashes. I've shared a link in the description if you want to learn more or contribute. So the value of accessories is definitely a more objective thing. For me, I wanted the latch lights from Custom Dynamics because I didn't feel like there was any indication that I was, turning on the side of my bike. So I got those installed, and I did some fog lights. I don't think I have any good video of the fog lights in action, but I'm definitely more noticeable during the day, and I can see better at night. I don't feel like comfort modifications always get the spotlight, but they're really what makes doing these kind of miles possible. So in this category, I spent just over $3,100, and some of the changes I made ended up being the most impactful that I've made to the bike. If you notice, when I was talking about the suspension, it was the second most noticeable change I made. The biggest was the seat. So of course I started out with the factory one. Then I tried out the Harley Sundowner and did a couple thousand miles on it, including a trip home to DC. And then I gave the factory seat some more time, but neither of those really did it for me. And after 5,000 miles, I switched over to the Mustang Super Deluxe Touring seat. And so far, that's been my favorite. And not just favorite seat, but favorite upgrade. It's not heated, and I wish it was, but the comfort difference is huge. My cup holder is the second favorite accessory, followed closely by heated grips and my handguards, which you can check out my second video on the Road Glide to see that. Next were the windshield and jiffy stand. So a lot of people in some of the communities that I've joined on Facebook and in some forums, like swear by the Clockworks windshields, but I couldn't find one to demo when I wanted one. So I just went with what was in stock and I got the Harley one. It's definitely not actually smoked, as Harley would have you believe, but it gets the job done. I'm a taller guy, so a 12-inch windshield just seems to fit me. The jiffy stand switch, which really should come installed from the factory. Like, what are you doing, Harley? If you don't know, that switch enables you to be able to do the brake hold while the bike is in neutral. So you don't have to keep your hand on the clutch. And if you're in traffic or in a hilly place, it comes in pretty handy. I use it a lot. But there were some things that I bought that were just okay, or lessons learned. So the emblems that I changed out to, I really should have went with the Rick Rack ones instead. And a few pieces like, seat nuts and shifter linkage. Sure, like they add a visual appeal, but they're not game changers. Overall, this category is less about the flashy upgrades and more about comfort and everyday usability. And honestly, that's really what makes the difference. I promise it was way more dramatic when I was starting. It was raining. Now I'm just wearing this rubber suit and sweating. Sadly, it's the Pedro by the bathroom. What? That's where we just came from. But at least that's where we're going. This guy looks a little better. Let's talk about clothing. This year I spent around $3,600 on clothing, and some of it was great. Some of it just filled a gap, as you saw, and a couple things I'd never buy again. So let's start with the stuff that I didn't care for. Now, there's nothing wrong with the half helmet, but this one I grabbed on impulse, and while I wouldn't call it a total waste of money, it wasn't really that useful. That said, when I got up to Laconia, I was glad that I had it because it was hot and there was a lot of slow speed riding. The mesh jacket that you guys saw me wear in some of the clips chafed my lower back because I should have got a larger size, and the collar fastener kept hitting my helmet. And it wasn't really a good fit. The Ironworkers Mercury jeans didn't quite fit right, and the Hardened jeans weren't much better. Both of those came from Cycle Gear, and both are off of my list. But my favorite jeans also came from Cycle Gear. And that rain suit that I was complaining about, it was $26. I should have known better. So, as far as gear that I love, my Dainese MiG-3 gloves, huge fan, and those were not my first pair of Dainese gloves, and definitely won't be my last. The Indy Ridge Comanche shoes, they broke in beautifully and are waterproof and very comfortable. Mine wore out a bit early, but I'll admit that was on me. And my dry bag and rock straps. Simple, but they came through pretty much every trip. And the star, unsung as it may be, my Shoei Neotech 3, was expensive but absolutely worth it. It's quiet and very, very comfortable. So the rain gear that I did end up going with was the Harley Full Speed, tops and bottoms. It was a big step up in comfort and finish and cost, but it matched my expectations. And then there's the heated gear, because I ride year round. And finally, the Cardo Pack Talk Edge. For me, it is a must-have, even though there are dongles. I just don't want to mess with that stuff. And I use the voice commands when I'm riding all the time, so I couldn't see myself without it. Definitely lasts a lot longer than my old Cardo, but I don't really use the speakers that much now in the headset. So, a mixed gear a mixed year with gear. Oh, sorry. I get carried away. We're talking about consumables, so that's literally where the rubber meets the road. And for 30,000 miles, I think I made out pretty well. The big ticket item as far as consumables were concerned were a rear tire with install, which cost me about $500. But what surprised me is how many miles I got out of it. I understand that I'm coming from riding sport bikes and I wasn't used to that kind of longevity, but the Harley branded Dunlops held up way better than I expected. I'm not ready to switch tires yet. So, also swapped out a set of rear brake pads for $60, and I had a dyno run at Precision Harley in Rhode Island. But why would I do a dyno? Honestly, just to establish a baseline and because the opportunity was there. I mean, it's $70, and it let me know exactly what kind of power the bike was making. Even though, I mean, you can find this stuff online, but I wanted my own. But on the flip side, my service plan actually covered a front tire replacement, and that would have been another $400 out of pocket, and it didn't cost me a dime. And I've also got a set of front rotors being replaced under warranty soon, so that's one less thing on my plate. So one of the big advantages this year has been working with a master tech who isn't shy about sharing his opinions. That feedback has saved me from wasting money and pointed me toward smarter choices, which I'll share in future updates. All in, I spent about $600 on consumables this year, which is surprisingly low considering how much time I spent on the bike. We are not off to the start that I hoped that we would be. I'm pretty confident that we'll do it in under 20 hours, but famous last words and such. We are not pulling off that saddle sore. Famous last words. Between the rain and the fact that I got like 4 hours of sleep, I was just going to record this in the morning, but I'm all about the realism and being honest and forthright when I'm making this content. So I'm taking my ass to bed. My eyes are red, and I'm definitely well pleased with the 800 miles that we did do today. And if it weren't for the storm, I would have kept pushing. Like, my plan was to make it to Brunswick, and that would have left me with like 120 miles to go. Had I left at 3 in the morning, I'm sure we would have met the goal. The video's not over. We still got more stuff to do, but I figure I give you that now. That saddle sore did not go at all how I thought it was going to. Started out behind schedule, and it was definitely more of an exercise of realizing when it was time to stop than pushing through. Not my last attempt, I'll definitely say that, but I learned a few lessons, and I'll plan better for the next one. Alright, let's talk about fuel economy and cost per mile. Now, over the course of 31,258 miles, I went through about 1,014 gallons of gas, which works out every 185 miles or 169 fuel stops. When you add it all up, my running cost came to about $1.55 per mile with fuel included. And if you take fuel out of the equation, it's closer to $1.44 per mile. I left the price of the bike itself out of this equation on purpose because everybody's situation is different when it comes to financing or buying outright. These numbers give you a real-world baseline for what it cost me to ride 30,000 miles in a year. Honestly, when I think about the places the bike has taken me, the rallies, the trips, the time with family, friends, and memories packed into those miles, $1.50 seems like money well spent. Here's the full picture after 1 year with my Road Glide. So the upgrades came to about $10,500, and accessories like the Mustang seat and heated grips and windshield added another $3,100. Clothing and gear, so helmets, gloves, rain gear, heated gear, was about $3,600. Consumables like tires, brake pads, a dyno run cost me $579, and miscellaneous odds and ends like that tire inspection, that stupid nitrogen, cleaning supplies were another $220 or so. And then there's maintenance. If I had paid cash for every mileage based service, it would have been around $4,100. With my prepaid plan, my real world cost was closer to $1,500. I spent $23,799 in my first year with this bike. Now, the average Harley rider puts about 3,000 to 5,000 miles on their bike per year. I did 6 to 10 times that, so yeah, the numbers look high, but spread out over 30,000 miles, the cost per mile isn't nearly as crazy as it seems. And of course, what I got in return, the rides, the trips, the stories, is worth way more than what I can put on this screen. Year one was ambitious, no doubt, but it's also my first year retired. And if this year proved anything, it's that the Road Glide was the right choice for me. Could I do another 30,000? Oh yeah. Probably do that before next summer. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed creating it for you. And if you did enjoy it, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave me some comments. If you have any questions, you can leave those in the comment section too. Definitely my longest video involving my motorcycle, and I had a lot of fun making it. So as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.